Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their new books, novels, comics, and video games, but also let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows, the new Star Wars movies that are currently in the works, that are all going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration this year by Bob Chapek, George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni, all on the stage presenting this to the fans at Celebration. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So it's even all the more exciting right now is that we are getting very close to the release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. That is, of course, going to give us, the return of Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and a lot of other new characters on the side as well. That's really going to be done very much correctly by Deborah Chow. She wants to make sure that the Kenobi series is going to feel very much like a direct sequel to Revenge of the Sith, and how it's going to match in tone with that actual Star Wars movie. So, on top of all of this, alright, one thing that a lot of fans have been very curious about is exactly what's been going on, of course, with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, and others that are really joining in on this new universe to really kind of build things from the ground up. Now, essentially, everything is starting with the Book of Boba Fett. We have seen what they did with chapters 5 and 6 of how it took advantage of a lot of Legends elements and threw it into the Book of Boba. And they're just going to keep on snowballing all of this in Mando Season 3 and 4, the Ahsoka Tano series, the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show is going to take advantage of that as well. I mean, there's a lot of things coming our way for the Star Wars universe. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing has everything to do with what's been going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm. So, with the Ahsoka Tano series getting closer to filming at Disney and Lucasfilm, they are building the sets for the series as we speak. It's described that currently both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are getting ready to begin working on a series of new shows that will be unveiled at Star Wars Celebration this year. However, it's described that, of course, Lucasfilm is currently in big trouble right now with a Star Wars project that they have been working on since the beginning of 2021, as they recently ran into new problems with the Acolyte TV series for Disney Plus that is being done by both Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland. Now, further, it's described that Kathleen Kennedy recently ran into more problems and setbacks with the Acolyte series, where one of the cast members recently dropped from the show. It's described that initially actress Ruby Rose was attached to the Acolyte series as one of the dark side-oriented characters that was going to be one of the main plot points of the series. Ruby Rose recently was not enjoying Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie's direction of the show after all the rewrites that shortened the screen time for her character in key scenes that are now being written, of course, for the series. Now, let me just stop right there for 1 second. Now, in case you guys have no idea who Ruby Rose is, this is an actress that, honestly, I wouldn't have liked during the Acolyte series anyways, because I'm not a big fan of her, to be honest. But this was the entire situation with Batwoman, Batgirl, whatever show it was. There was a lot of problems with that show where, it was very much a big backlash for the fans, and the creators didn't want to let go of Ruby Rose, and it ended up in a very big mess, to say the least. Nonetheless, she was not fit for Star Wars, alright? Ruby Rose as an actress was not really good for Star Wars, in my opinion. This is yet again another prime example that Kathleen Kennedy just drags in anybody who she wants to just play random characters. And in the end, she rewrites those characters and rewrites the story, and those actors and or actresses end up getting offended by Kathleen Kennedy in the long run. And it's not a big surprise here that people that are actually sided with Kathleen Kennedy end up having problems with her eventually. That's how I think tainted she really is as a producer, as a president of a company such as Lucasfilm, and how she's a partial creator in a sense, because she is working hand in hand with Leslie Headland, calling the shots on what to do, what not to do, what's too much, what's too little here and there. Honestly, the Acolyte TV show, in the simplest of terms, alright? It sounds good on paper when you just look at the handful of words that it presents, right? It says it's about emerging dark side powers in the end of the High Republic era. And yes, that could sound interesting if you just read that, but at the end of the day, we know what it's about. It's all about Kathleen Kennedy inserting the identity politics, inserting the diversity, inserting, of course, the real-world issues in there that are just going way too overboard, that she's actually shying away from developing a good story and character development. And even Leslie Headland said this just a couple of weeks ago, that that's what they're mainly focused on. They're focused on promoting, you know, identity politics, diversity, and real-world issues going on in the world right now to be thrown into Star Wars. And that, to me, I think is where you fail. You know, that's where you fail right on point. I think that this show is dead on arrival, whether or not it releases or not. It's going to not be a very impressing, you know, thing among the fandom. It's not gonna be. Now, moving on from all of this. Alright, so Ruby Rose, okay, recently stepped down from the show, and now Kathleen Kennedy is said to be having a lot of problems and a tough time trying to find a replacement, or at least a recast of the character codenamed Labora. Ruby Rose was having tons of conflicts with Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie about why they actually decreased her screen time and changed her character drastically in the show, and that it is not what she signed up for. Ruby Rose, as of now, is out of the Acolyte series, which is forcing Kennedy and Leslie to go into a deep search of who they can replace her with the series. This is likely to delay principal photography for the series until the summer, as opposed to April. However, Kennedy is proposing to Disney that they shoot some scenes first that don't involve Ruby's character. However, Disney CEO Bob Chapek is against this, as there is a chance they could spend money on filming and end up with no recast for the character, leading to more reshoots to shift the story around later on. It's something that Kennedy keeps having issues with on the show, as she is struggling to create her very own legacy. Additionally, other problems that Kathleen Kennedy is facing is getting a proper composer to do the music and score for the series. It's something that has been a very big deal and a very big difficult task for Kathleen Kennedy for the past number of months now, and she's having a hard time finding somebody that fits the criteria. She's essentially is looking for somebody that sounds similar to John Williams for the show, as this will focus on Jedi and dark side warriors, and how she wants to give it that cinematic feel to it all. This is putting a ton of pressure on Lucasfilm employees that are working on the project, including visual artists and concept artists, plus more that feel very stressed over all of the entire situation. So once again, the Acolyte TV series is a prime example that Kathleen Kennedy cannot work well with a TV show on her own, especially one that she has full creative power over with somebody like Leslie Headland. It's a very interesting way, because when you look at everything related to the Acolyte series, right, this is all about the very end of the High Republic era, and it's interesting to me the fact that they are jumping to the very end so fast to essentially lay down some retcons for the prequel trilogy movies, and that's their overall plan. Even Leslie admitted this a couple of weeks ago, that they are going to be providing some retcons to The Phantom Menace, and that, to me, I think worries a lot of fans. It does. I think it worries a lot of fans out there on how bad these retcons are going to be, exactly how it's going to change the fans' perception of the prequel trilogy movies. In my book, if you just not even pay attention to the show, you can treat it as non-canon if you really want to do it that much. But on top of this, guys, let me know what you think about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.